and welcome to another episode of The Red Path. We're here on another episode of The Skull Takers. We already did one today with Dara and Brian, so if you haven't caught that one, go catch that one right now. Brian went 5-0 at Gem, but we had another team member at Gem, Jamie.
Yeah.
So, big 4-1 for the Khorne Lord of Skulls, and
yes,
this was your first 4-1 ever?
It was, yes. It was a good one. And I just want to say thank you and good luck, Ryan, on your first time hosting the show, right?
Ooh, no pressure.
Yeah, right. No, but yes, it was a great event. Obviously, massive congrats to Brian and everyone there.
And you too, man. You too. Like that's a big achievement. That's really cool. It's awesome.
Yeah, it was a big it was a good personal achievement. Like before we were recording, I was mentioning a couple of months ago I had my first 3 back-to-back wins at an event. Then I got a 3-0 RTT, which was big for me. And then I finally got the 4-1, which I've been consistently a 3-2 player. Sometimes if I play teams, I'm normally 0-5 sort of thing, because whatever. But I'm the guy you just throw at whatever no one else wants to play. But
the classic angry guy who just yeets at you.
Yeah, exactly.
Perfect.
But yeah, this was a good one. And obviously, as you mentioned, Brian and myself were both there. This was at the Gem GT in Dayton, Ohio, my local stomping grounds. Absolutely amazing event.
Awesome.
And I know we've got an international border in the way. I know it's a long journey, but maybe one day you're not too far away.
I'm not too far. No, maybe I'll make it down for sure. We'll have a Team Red Path bonanza.
Mm-hmm.
So speaking of bonanzas, before the tournament even started, there was supposed to be a stream game that you and Brian were supposed to have.
Yeah.
But poor TTL, so Tabletop Live, got stuck at the border.
Yes. Oh, those fellas, I felt so bad for them. Tabletop Live, great streaming channel for anyone who isn't familiar. You need to subscribe to them straight away, immediately, and strongly recommend supporting them on Patreon as well. But yeah, they're in your neighbourhood. Well, I don't know how close they are to you, but they're in Canada.
Yeah.
And they got stuck at the border, I assume because of the presidential elections going on. So security was tight. They got delayed by several hours. So Brian and I were going to do a slight meme of a charity game. We were using Legends. And seeing as I didn't get to play it, the people were asking in the Discord, the list I was going to run was Zoofor the Impaler, which is the CSM Terminator Lord, with 8 Terminators, and I was going to pay the full price, but it had to be the 8 Terminators. I had the Storm Eagle in there, 3 Volkite Contemptors, and some other nonsense. I can't even remember what else was in there. But it was a really fun list, and Brian was going to bring the Brass Scorpion and a Helldrake and all kinds of stuff.
The Mean Dreams alive and well.
Yeah. One day we'll do it.
So you guys were extra pissed going into day one of the tournament. The anger had boiled over that you guys weren't allowed to live with Mean Dreams.
Yeah. It was it was. I was really looking forward to it, but sometimes things can't happen. The guys rolled in late and they have set up to do. But yes, it did start the event proper with Brian and I. Our blood was boiling, fury was high. It was a good and bad start to the event. Let's put it like that.
There you go. So, all right, let's get into it. I want to hear. I'm going to obviously ask about your games, but I know everyone's at home dying to hear about how the Lord of Skulls performed in each game. So I need you to get that for me. So, game 1, who did you have? Actually, let's go over your list first. Let's talk about the entire list, and let's see how that works together.
Okay, so it's the same list I've been running for a while. It just has a new name, which I'll give you the name once. I want to read it verbatim, though. So the list itself is Angron, Invocatus, Glaive-Mo, 2x10 Jackals, 1x10 Berserkers, 1 unit of Spawn, the Lord of Skulls, and 3x3 8-bound. And of course BCP's being a pain for me. The list was called fuck you, Games Workshop, you stole my rhinoceros. Because the list previously had a rhino, and with the points change, I had to drop the rhino. So, yeah, you know.
Amazing.
Yeah, and I really miss that rhino. It's just such a nice little piece to have in your arsenal. But
The endangered white rhino.
yeah. But yeah, so that's the list, and it's the same list I ran. I've been running for several months, obviously minus the rhino. And I know you came up with an alternative version a few weeks ago, which I think is probably technically better, like more optimized. I don't know, I liked your theory behind it, but it's what I'm used to. You know, sometimes you find your rhythm with a list, right? And I had my rhythm with this one.
Awesome.
But yeah.
All right, so there's the list. There's the Khorne Lord of Skulls live in action with a lot of good stuff. And so, game one, who'd you get?
So I paired game one into a gentleman called Charles, and he was running Imperial Agents.
What?
Yeah, that's an army. Did you know that? That is an army that you can actually bring.
That's allowed?
Yes, it is. You know what? It surprised me, but there were 2 Imperial Agent armies at the event. There was only one Tyranids list, which was weird. Yeah,
Only 8 World Eaters at the event.
Yeah, 8 World Eaters and 7 Death Guard as well. So it was kind of foretold in a way. But I've got Charles's list here, but I'm not going to really go into it because no one's going to know what any of it is.
Okay. Yeah.
But essentially, what it is a lot of T3 bodies.
Okay.
And then he allied in 2 squads of Grey Knight Terminators, a squad of Death Watch, like melee guys, power armor melee guys, hammers and swords and stuff. And I want to say he had 2 War Dog, the Reaper Chainsword and the Melter, whichever one that is. What do they call Armigers? That's what it is.
Armigers, yeah.
Yeah. And then a bunch of 2 Inquisition squads, and then a bunch of Breacher squads.
That's really cool.
It was really cool. It was interesting because, you know, I'm not familiar with this at all. I mean, okay, I've got a lot of T3 stuff to deal with and some power armor, Terminators and everything. But, you know, it was a little bit... sorry, I think my daughter's just turned the TV on really loud. Classic teenager. So I won't go too deep into this game. What I will tell you is be careful when you face this army. They're not a meme. They need some lethality added onto them, but they do have T, right?
Okay.
Charles was a great guy, really good opponent. He knew what he was doing. And he got first turn, and he moved his breachers, a 10-man, basically a 10-man guard squad, with a character in there, I believe, onto the central objective. I was like, okay, we're playing tipping point. I was like, all right. I wanted to send Angron out because I knew I had lots of units I could pick up with the Lord of Skulls and 8-pound and stuff. So I was going to be racking up kills quickly. So I figured, trade him quickly, bring him back quickly, and just keep destabilising. When you've got a T3 opponent, you're going to get kills. You're going to get a lot of kills.
Yeah.
So Angron goes out. I was like, all right, we'll just pick up these guys, sit him on the middle objective, let him shoot me off, then I'll sticky the centre, and that will help me on my primary for round 2.
Mm-hmm.
So Angron goes into a squad of 10 guardsmen with the character. Okay, this is Angron.
I feel a butt coming on. I feel a butt coming on. James.
There is a butt. There's a very big butt coming on. The Primarch of the World Eaters goes into 10 humans, sweeps with rerolls, and kills 5. They have a dude in there that gets a 4-up invul, and then they're sort of like, their army rules a 5-up invul on objectives. And, you know, it was a bit of a swingy dice result, but I was like, are you kidding me? 19 attacks, and I killed 5 bodies. I was like, oh no, what have I done? I've made a terrible mistake. But luckily, it was okay. He failed to kill Angron, so Angron then just went on a rampage, killing war dogs and everything else. Charles deep struck his Grey Knights in my backfield. I was like, you know what? That's fine. You can have the backfield. It was taken hold, you know, mission A. So I was like, I'll just abandon the back. You can get a couple of secondaries for behind enemy lines or whatever. And I'm just going to ignore the 2 killiest units in your army and kill everything else.
Perfect.
Yeah. So, and like they're Terminators without the Grey Knight's rules, so they're not like
Uppy downy.
yeah, they're not doing anything other than advancing or trying to charge me. I body blocked him with some jackals, and that was it. So I ended up winning that game 77 to 61.
Okay.
It was a really good game.
Pretty tight, actually.
Yes, it was. There was a combination of like secondaries in my favour at first, then in his favour, and so on. And it was a lot closer than I thought it was going to be. You know, I got in my own head and thinking, oh, Angron wipes a unit a turn, Lord of Skulls picks up a unit a turn. Angron did die, and I did get to yell. I yelled blood for the blood god, and he came back. So
yes,
that's what I needed. But yeah, that was round one. And
that's a great start, man. Yeah. So fun army to play, a new experience. Yeah. You got your feet wet, got a swingy dice roll, and then that's the game of Warhammer, baby. We love that. Yeah. So. Khorne Lord of Skulls. How do you? So he was he like there?
He was, because, like I said, the way I've staged my attacks was to try and underkill units in melee to bring them down to like 3 or 4 bodies, and just leave lots of little remnants so the Lord of Skulls could shoot, split his fire, get 2 kills, tank shock charge, kill a unit, get up to 4 kills in a turn.
Wow, just like
I think farming. Yeah, and that's the plan. And I got 3 a couple of times, so I was consistently able to get exactly what I wanted. And when I needed it for Angron, he was more or less right back. And
awesome.
The Lord of Skulls is a great advantage when you're into an army that has that. Not so good against knights or something, but you know, against a lot of MSU type stuff, it's great.
For sure.
So yeah, absolutely key in that first game.
Oh, awesome. Well, that's a great start. But then we're right on to round 2, man. There's this train don't stop. This murder train don't stop.
No, it doesn't stop. However, it does falter. So round 1, I was originally scheduled to play Eldar, but there was a reprint. The Eldar I should have played was Peter Elias, who Brian played in round 5.
Oof,
really good Eldar player.
Dodged a bullet there.
Yes, I did. I'm glad. Brian loves the Eldar game. I don't. So I'm glad I missed that, and I got the agents. Round 2, I paired into a Tyrannage player originally. I was like, okay, I can do this. Then they repaired again, and I got in. And then I got into Imperial Guard. And we're playing on the terrain map 2. It's the one that's really not favourable for
it's
not awful, but yes, it's got like 3 shooting firing lanes. I was like, man, I just see Astra Militarum, and I'm like, really? So I start looking at the list, and I won't say my frown turned upside down, but it did neutralise. So because it wasn't Aquilons, it wasn't Triple Dawn, it wasn't any sort of boogeyman guard list. It did have 2 Vanquishers, 3 Dawns, including Demolishers, including a Commander, and 2 Rogal Dawns.
Okay.
And then there was like 5 or 6 Guardsman squads, Leontis, of course, and a couple of little things. But I'll tell you this. The army, I don't know if it won, I think it got 3rd for best painted. Absolutely gorgeous.
Oh, I love that.
This wasn't a guy that had picked up guard because they were good. This is a guy that this has been, and in fact, I think it was only his 2nd tournament.
He got rewarded.
Yes, he deserved the army he played, and he was a good player, awesome guy. We kept checking in on each other after each round and everything. Matt was his name, and it was actually told me the army was styled after the British Army in North Africa during World War II with the colour scheme.
That's really cool.
Yeah, it was awesome. So we had a nice little chat. However, even though it wasn't the cutting edge, killy guard bullshit, he still won. He managed to win that game, 80 to 60 in his favour.
Okay, that's still a tight one.
It was tight. The Lord of Skulls I had to be a lot more conservative with, because he had plenty of stuff that would, if not one-shot it, then cripple it, and then something else finishes it off. I had to bide my time, and I made a play that didn't pan out by sending Angron to kind of do an overcharge and then a consolidate, and I failed that charge, and then I failed a charge on the other flank with my 8-pound, and so I was kind of left dead in the water.
Okay.
And then when God opens up the guns, things.
21 gun salute for that boy.
Yeah, it was. But big respect to him. He deserved the win. He played very well. He. I know. I was following him along. He ended up 3-2, but he won his first 3 games. So he ended the first day 3-0 with some strong scores against good opponents. So good for him. And like I said, I think it was his second tournament or first GT, something like that.
Awesome.
Great guy.
That's great. Great to hear that.
Yeah, but that put me in 1-1. I was fine. I had 2 great games.
Yep, that's
what are you going to do?
That's what we go to tournaments for, right? We don't like tournaments for the vast majority of people are there for a great social time with other amazing people like Matt, like Charles, and so that's great to hear. That's what we want from our tournaments. We want to have fun. We want to play with our toys, win or lose, and have a great opponent. So that's great that you had those 2 games.
Yeah.
But day 1, don't stop there.
No. You played 3 games on day 1. Come on. We're adults.
Come on.
And when you reach my age, and I'm a bigger fella, and the tables at the gem events they're low. So if you're a short fella like Brian is, it's fine. It's a neck height. But when you're average height like me,
shots fired. Not even here to defend himself.
Screw that guy. But so I'm bending. My back's giving out and stuff, and I'm wearing my team jersey. And of course, the problem with those jerseys is you sweat. I mean, it's a sweaty time, and you sweat, and it doesn't feel good. And I'm like, man, I'm just ready to be done. But I did get a good lunch, so I was okay. And I think I'd had a couple drinks as well, so I was feeling definitely okay.
Feeling good, Jamie.
Yeah, right. So I ended up pairing into Death Guard, gentleman called Stephen. Again, this army was beautifully painted. Like this was his thing. Death Guard was his army.
Perfect.
Real nice list. 2 PBCs. 2 of the 3-man Terminators. I think that's the Death Shroud. One had Typhus. One had Lord of Virulence or something. I don't remember the stinky names.
Something gross.
Yeah. 2 Plague Marine squads with the characters inside that give them fight first and grenades and all that. The good stuff, right?
Yep.
And like I said, a beautifully painted army. The problem for Steve was one of my, if not my most frequent opponent, is Don Hooson, who is arguably the Death Guard guy.
He's mildly okay at Death Guard.
He's kind of 50-50. Like, you've got a Death Guard question, he might know the answer. But between him and Aidan Smalley in the UK, they're like the Death Guard guys, right?
Yeah.
And so I haven't played Don in a while, but we would routinely play once, maybe twice a week. So Death Guard is an army I know pretty well.
Yeah.
Not to say I'm always going to win, but I at least know what they're going to do, right? It's like playing a mirror match almost. You know the rules. You don't ask questions because you know. Unfortunately, Stephen didn't really know World Eaters. There was no gotchas or anything. I'm upfront about that stuff, but he doesn't know the play patterns. So that one ended up 94-51 in my favour. Really nice victory. And knowing the strengths of like his weapons, like his entropy cannons and things like that, I knew where I could put my Lord of Skulls. And he's going to tank the melters from one squad of Plague Marines. I'm not worried about. Okay, he takes 6-7 damage. Fine. He's going to get chipped down with lethal hits on the Plague Bolters and stuff. Fine. I know what he can survive, and then I know what he's going to chew up. And the tone of the game was set. I went first. I did my pre-measuring. I knew where the entropies were, so I was like, he'd just poked out the butt of his Flamer PVC.
Yep.
Because he didn't have room to deploy it anywhere else. The Lord of Skulls poked out. I was in range with just my Skull Hurler. I rolled an 11 on the number of shots. No re-rolls because it's turn 1.
Yeah.
I want to say I hit with 10 or maybe 11 of them, just naturally.
What?
And then I wounded with like 7 or 8, and he failed 5 saves.
15 damage.
Yeah. I just one-shotted a Death
Pop
Guard
goes the
tank.
weasel.
Yeah. Now, that that wasn't like amazing or anything. Like it doesn't change the game, but it set the pace. He was like, oh my god, like he's got Angron, but he's also got something that one shots a tank. Like
now it's the psyops.
yes,
Now it's the psyops.
Oh yeah, when you live free in their head.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was a great game. Really fun. He was a great opponent. But I felt like from that moment, I just had the advantage at every step of the way. So it was, yeah. But I ended the day 2-1, and I was really happy with that. I was feeling good.
Absolutely, man. You should be. Big Lord of Skulls moments and some cool stuff happening. Some great armies, beautiful painted armies. What's not to love?
Exactly.
So yeah, you go into day 1. Team Red Path is 5-1 at the end of day 1. That's so awesome.
Yep.
You and Brian maybe had a little drink, maybe had a little dinner.
Maybe a little. We went. I'm trying to remember what we did Saturday night. I think we ate. Yeah, we ate at the restaurant in the hotel, and
Awesome.
had a couple drinks, and I think I ate an entire rack of ribs that night. I mean, like that. Like it was a rack.
Awesome.
It was good.
See, that's I'm for those that don't know, I'm Canadian up here in Canada, and like you don't eat a rack of ribs at a restaurant. I want to go to America just to eat a rack of ribs.
Oh,
at a
yeah. Yeah.
like, let's do this.
Yeah, and like I mean, it filled me up. I mean, Brian ordered the half rack, and he ate like 2 ribs. I was like, nah, dude, you just need to sit at the kids' table, man. Like this is where we eat. We're eating. But yeah, so we got something to eat. We chatted to the TTL guys a little bit. Zeb was there, member of our Discord, Brian's buddy and we sat around talking, theorising, all that stuff. And, go back to the room, get a good night's sleep, wake up. I try and find some coffee, start waking up. We go in and we get ready for day 2. And day 2 happens, man. And
let's hear it, man. What'd you get? What'd you start out with?
Well, I appear into Chris with his Gene Stealer Colts.
Oh, you're looking at his 2-2 for sure, right?
Yeah, I've played Gene Stealer Colts I think once ever, that was definitely not in 10th edition. It was either 8th or 9th when I played them. So they've changed half a dozen times since then, ups and downs. I know they're a tricky army. I know they, die and come back, but I don't know much more beyond that. So I asked Brian for some tips. He gives me some overview stuff to do. All right, I'm good with that. And then the TTL guys come up and say, "Hey, do you want to play on our Patreon table?" I'm like, "Hell yeah, let's do it. Why not? Let's
Absolutely.
just add another layer of stress to this because why not, right?"
Why not? Well, shout out to the TTL guys. Obviously, if you haven't signed up for their Patreon, please do. You'll see Jamie, you'll see Brian on there. I think I've got a couple games on there at this point. They're awesome guys. They deserve all the love. They deserve all the support. And you'll catch some great World Leaders content with a Lord of Skulls or whichever list you might want to see on there. There's a variety at this point. So,
yeah,
great guys, great dudes.
They're definitely big friends of the channel. They have always put yourself or Brian on there frequently, and I was really happy to get the opportunity to be on my first ever streamed game. Really,
Amazing.
And yeah, like I said, into GSC, and this was a gentleman named Chris, another really great opponent with another really beautifully painted army. We kind of went over our stuff at the start of the game, and I was like, you know what, man? Give me the big picture. I'm not going to remember the little stuff. I want to know if there's invols and feel no pains. How do I kill your stuff? You know what I mean? Yeah. So he tells me about his abominable squads. Tells me about the 4-wheelers. I'm not sure what they're called.
Whatever they are.
Yeah, he had 9 characters, and he's saying this guy does this girl does that. All right, whatever. As long as I know the characters, I know what Mo's job is. I know what's happening here. So I had a vague understanding. He explained to me he had one squad of guys, 10 or 20, I think it was 20 men. He said these are my anti-vehicle guys. They've got a 4-up anti-vehicle guy, D6 damage or D6 plus 1 or something. So I'm like, okay. Or I think they were 2 damage, but anti-vehicle 4. But they had a horrendous amount of attacks.
Yeah, they had a lot of attacks.
So I kind of knew I had to bait them out so I could fully
Okay.
use the Lord of Skulls. So I had to play a bit slower. And what I did, so basically I set up and kind of had Angron and the Lord of Skulls central. And we're playing on Search and Destroy, by the way, on day 2. And I kind of tried to screen out as much as I could, bubble wrapping those guys, because I knew anything I killed was going to jump back in and get them. He infiltrates infiltrates some Gene Stealers, and he got first turn, I believe. Let me just double check that. He got first turn, and I had Jackals screening one flank. I had to use 8-bound for the other flank because then I had Jackals screen in the middle as well, I believe. And he came in with his Gene Stealers, obviously annihilated the Jackals.
Poor Jackals.
And Abominants came in as well.
Oh no.
Yeah. And then, there was that was it. I believe a 10-man of Gene Stealers with the Patriarch, a 5-man Gene Stealer, and the big blob of Abominants with their leader.
He just put meat on you, eh?
That was...
he put a full rack of ribs on you.
He did. But the problem is, when you throw a full rack of ribs at a World Eater, he can...
Well, he's going to eat.
Because who was there to save the day, Ryan? Who has been our shining star, no matter whether he's costed 80 points, 100 points, or quite frankly, 150 points?
Blessed be the Mo.
The Mo.
Blessed be the Glaive Mo.
Mm-hmm. Yes, he was there. I want to say I actually heroicked him turn
Amazing.
1. Because I knew what the possibilities were. So anytime I'm in a combat army, 1v1, Mo's always there. Kind of the boys spread out with Mo in the middle. Hit me here. He's coming in. You'll jab me, he's going to uppercut you. It's just going to happen. Now, of course, the problem is the way it was set out. We had the 10 Gene Stealers with Patriarch, 5 Gene Stealers, and the Abominant Blob. He couldn't kill them all.
No.
But he got pretty bloody close.
Amazing. What a savage.
Oh, dude. Between him and the boys, they wiped out the Patriarch and his 10-man.
Yep.
They, I think, wiped either the entire 5-man Gene Stealer or took 3 or 4 of them.
Yep.
And then took out 2.5 of the Abominants.
That's
wild. Which I was fine about. But more importantly, he survived the clapback.
Yeah.
So then in the next turn, the Abominants come in and they've got the 2 damage weapons. Meanwhile, Angron, Lord of Skulls are positioning. They're picking off all the little indirect shooting stuff, the mini squads. I'm pushing out the spawn and the 8-bound to keep screening out where they surge the cult ambush tokens. Mo, I popped the -1 damage on him. He drops down to Mo and maybe 2 or 3 Zerkers, but he's still alive. And then he fights again on the 3rd turn, or my turn, or however it works. And he just keeps tanking and killing. He eventually dies. But that little blob, as well as a sacrificial jackal unit, held up that entire flank of his alpha units, quite frankly.
Yeah, for sure.
And
it's amazing.
What won it, honestly, in my opinion, and like I said, this game is on TTL, so you can kind of watch most of it back. What won it was the fact that the Abominant squad and the Patriarch's Gene Stealer squad did not come back. I was trying not to kill them because I wanted him to go to turn 3, so they'd come back.
It would be a 5 up instead of a 4.
Right, but I had no choice because they were in my guts so early, and I obviously had to hold them back long enough. And I just got lucky in that those 2 didn't come back. His 5-man came back, but at that point, they're just 5 Gene Stealers. They're not part of a 30-man kill unit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
So Mo was the hero there and just kept holding them up whilst the rest of my army ran off and sort of systematically deleted.
Amazing.
Yeah. So I did win that one 79-68. Really good game. And I don't want to say I won because of dice rolls or bad dice rolls on my opponent's part. He played it tactically correct, but the army is built on a dice roll mechanic, much like ours is. Sometimes, if you don't get Angron back, it feels bad, right? But if you do get Angron back, it feels bad for the opponent. So, that's the problem with it. Yeah, screw
We don't
it.
care about that.
Fuck
We don't
it.
care about those people.
But yeah, it was. But in every turn, he's relying on 2 or 3 dice rolls.
Yeah,
50-50
and then it's not making them.
No. And I'm assuming probably Folger with his custodes was stealing all his 4-up luck and making them.
Oh,
He was taking those 4+ dice and putting them on his wardens. And Chris was didn't have them, unfortunately. But yeah, ended up with the win. So I was at 3-1 with 1 game to go.
Well, congratulations. Obviously, GSC is one of those like boogeyman armies of the meta right now. Obviously, get a little luck, get a little skill. And actually, I'd like to point that out right now is if you're a Red Path member, our Patreon, you get into our Patreon competitive channel. You get to ask questions like this of Jamie. So you don't know how to face Gene Stealers. You want someone with experience who's done all the screening, the heroic, all the setup. Like this guy's killing it. Like he's describing it perfectly tactically there. So if you want to, your own specific scenario where you're worried about a specific faction, get in there. One of our guys has handled something like that before. We'll come help you. Absolutely, come join us, and we'll talk shop for sure. But yeah, good win, man. That's a great job. And now you're 3-1 going into that last game on the precipice of the best you've ever done. How are you feeling at that point?
Feeling really good. I've had 4 great games by this point. I've had great opponents. Not a single sort of bad thing has happened. I've been on form. I will bring up my biggest mistake.
Okay.
So I need to take a little drink here. Just a little sip of the Furners here.
There you go.
So my loss against the guard player Matt, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're starting up the game, and I say, "Oh, I'm taking tactical. What are you doing? Tactical?" He goes, "Yeah, no, I'm going to take fixed." I'm like, "Okay, interesting." Yeah. He said, "Yeah, I'll take bring it down and assassinate." I'm like, "Okay, I mean, I definitely give up. You'll take assassinate for max probably because I have to use them. Bring it down. I mean, I've got Angron and the Lord of Skulls. You'll get most of them."
Yeah.
I'm not. It's your game to play. In my head, I'm like, this is awesome. Lord of Skulls just sits back for most of the game. Like, maybe pokes out to snipe an enemy squad, but doesn't reveal himself. And Angron just sits back, giving me rerolls, and I will drown him in bodies as long as I can, scoring my secondaries, and just make it so he can't score anything. The problem was, Ryan, I knew that, and had I have done that, looking at my secondary draws, I would have won the game. I didn't need to commit Angron or the Lord of Skulls at all in that game.
Amazing.
I didn't need to,
But the nails.
The nails. If I'd ignored the kill secondaries and just, gone and done deploy teleport or whatever, established locus, I would have won. But I didn't, because I'm an idiot. So
we love that about you, Jamie.
Yeah. So that was. I needed to be honest about that. I made a foolish mistake there. However, had I have beaten Matt, I would have paired into the gentleman who won the GT with 200 guardsmen, and I would not have won that game.
No,
it was not even a skill issue. It's an unbeatable win, an unbeatable game for my list. So
that's a nightmare.
So actually losing that game led me on the red path that I walked into Game 5, which was, sometimes you get those pairings and you start looking through your list and you're like, man, this is sexy. Like, this is
mint.
Yeah, this is the one. It's a World Eaters mirror match, right?
Oh my god.
You couldn't ask for a better Game 5, quite frankly, because you're exhausted, right? Yeah. Your brain is like a soup, and when you get an army that, whether maybe it's like your second army or your main army, I don't have to ask questions. I know what your army does. I know everything your army does, and you know what my army does. So we're just going to get to roll dice. Yep, we're not going to be doing gotchas. We're just going to play the game as in its purest form. But not only that, Ryan, I'm going to go up a level here. Not only was it a mirror match, it was a Lord of Skulls and Angron mirror match.
Oh my god!
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. That's amazing.
Of the 8 World Eaters, there were 2 of us there with a Lord of Skulls, and we paired in round 5.
What chads?
Yes, right. A gentleman named Brian. Really beautifully painted World Eaters list. It was. I'm gonna look down here and try and pull up his list quickly because it's similar, but he went with the 6-man X-bound brick as well as the Lord of Skulls and Angron. So
Did he have the Mo and the 10 though?
No, he lost the Mo and the 10. Took the 6-man and Angron, Invocatus, 1 Jackals, 1 3-man 8-bound, 1 3-man X. 2 3-man X at 8-bound, the 6-man Lord of Skulls, and 2 units of Spawn.
Okay.
So he went for the 1 Jackal 2 Spawn. Which
you're both 3 and 1, so he did something.
He did something right.
Excuse me.
So I think he said he'd been playing World Eaters for this was his 2nd tournament with them. He'd been playing 40k for like years, but this was his 2nd event with World Eaters. I believe that's what he said. Great player, and I kind of blew his mind at the beginning as he'd never run into the mirror match. So he didn't know about the awful order of operations for getting your blessings and the scouts done. And it was it was frustrating for both of us because we had to keep rolling off to see what had happened. Anyway, he went first. I did my blessings first because he won that role.
Okay.
And we did blessings before scouts. So I can't remember exact. I think, I went Feel No Pain and Fight on Death. And he went Feel No Pain and I believe Sustained. I just played defensively turn 1. I scouted back or out of threat range. Yep. I hit the Lord of Skulls. Everything was Mo was 1 inch away from the wall. I did scout Mo up to the central L, on Search and Destroy, and I was he is 1.1 inch away from the walls here. I don't want to be tank shocked. I didn't mind a combat charge around the side because fight first. I just didn't want to lose 3 bodies to tank shock. So I was like, this is, and I measured. It wasn't just intent; it was actual as well.
Yeah.
So, this is a game I wanted to be tight. I wanted everything to be clockwork. We was going to do this right.
Yep.
So, our opening gambits, he moved out a little bit, I moved out a little bit. I got the first shots with the Lord of Skulls, and I was trying to pick off an 8-bound squad, which were vulnerable, and I killed 1 and put 1 wound on the other with the Lord of Skulls. Yeah, again, dice game.
Blingy.
It was, sometimes it happens. So it was my Lord of Skulls, I don't think killed an actual unit in this game. He did a lot of damage across the board. He did when he got in combat. But, and here's where I think the difference was, it was the experience level with the list. And with the army as well, I was sort of helping them along with some combat tricks and stuff.
Well, you're new to World Eaters, right, Jimmy?
Yeah, this is probably the 2nd game I've had with them. Right. So, and not only that, but it's the Lord of Skulls list I've been running the best part of the year. I know the ins and outs of this list. So I knew the probable winner of the game was who didn't lose the Lord of Skulls first. Whoever lost the Lord of Skulls was probably the loser because of the momentum needed to bring Angron back.
Yeah.
The Angron res was critical. So I traded my Angron for his Lord of Skulls.
Brilliant.
And then Angron survived the clapback.
Oh, no.
He died after that, but he survived the initial clapback because his 6-man X8 bound he had committed on the other flank to take my Lord of Skulls, which, as I haven't played X8 bound in months, but I know what they do, just not the exact numbers anymore. But I'm like, okay, so you've got this many attacks, you'll hit me on 3s, win me on 3s, maybe you've got sustained, whatever. I'm like, okay, so you on math do 20 damage, maybe? Okay, I've got 4 CP. I let him come, and I -1 damage.
Oh, no.
And I took 8 damage. from the
Yeah.
from 6 Exotic 8.
Yeah.
And now I chose to do the strike back because he had the 5-up feel no pain up.
Yep.
I was like, yeah, and he had the CP to -1 me as well.
Yep.
So I was like, I'll just strike you. Hopefully, if I'm lucky, I kill 3. I want to say I killed 2, maybe 1, but I was fine with it because I would get a turn of shooting into them, and I could bring reserves in, like to help me out. Not worried. So I traded my Angron for his Lord of Skulls. His Angron died, and his 6-man was tied up with the Lord of Skulls.
GG.
That gave me license to
Do whatever you want.
Do what I wanted. The Mo basically, cleaned house, moving from unit to unit.
What a champion.
Yeah, it was.
Hero.
It was like I said. I knew just from experience, the Lord of Skulls that died would be the one on the losing team, and Angron was a trade piece in that game for me.
Amazing.
Yeah, he
beautifully played, man. Beautifully played. That's
Yes,
all.
thank
Sounds
you.
awesome.
Yeah, it was a great game, and it ended. It was really close, but we ended. I want to say 80-77, 81-77.
Amazing game.
Yeah, right there
Amazing.
on the cusp. Yeah.
Sounds amazing. So 4-1, my man. You did a great job. Amazing.
Thank you.
Good for you. What was the final placing?
I think I came 16th out of.
That's a multiple of 8, if I'm not mistaken.
It definitely is. So I was the guard player with the 1,000 guardsmen came first. Brian obviously came second. Folger came third with custodes. Then there was a gentleman named Pat, who came 10th with World Eaters. So he got the best in faction World Eaters. And then I came 16th. And I want to say 93 finished the event. So
amazing.
I'm
so
really
16 to the 90 plus is a great job.
Yeah, I was really happy with it. So
and with the Lord of Skulls, man, you can't complain. So
no.
That's really cool. So that's your big GT experience with Lord of Skulls. Do you have any big takeaways, posts? Like, what was your favorite match or your favorite moments or anything like that?
I will say my favorite match. They were all great matches, great opponents, great armies. But I think the guard game that I lost.
Okay, that's
even
amazing.
Though the mistake was on me.
Yep.
We were very. It was one of those games where you and your opponent really just kind of connect. I know what you're doing. You know what I'm doing. Yeah, move my units. I'll move yours. It was like flawless. He was just a great opponent, and I just didn't feel bad losing to him. We're talking like a fraction of a millimeter. That was the best game of the 5. The rest were right there. They were right there. Yeah,
perfect. But you had a bunch of games all within 10 points. Close games, tight games. Sounds like a lot of faction specialists, a lot of beautiful armies. So not more you can ask for in terms of an event. That sounds amazing.
Yeah.
All right. So any Lord of Skulls takes post event. Obviously, like you said, you've been experienced with them now.
Yeah.
This is how many GTs with this Lord of Skulls?
2 or 3. I can't remember if I ran the Lord of Skulls at the team's GT. Definitely 2 singles GTs. 3 or 4, if not 5 RTTs.
Okay.
And multiple TTS games. So
what's your? Sorry, go ahead.
No, you go ahead, man.
What's your biggest takeaway then for people watching this? Because I know people are going to be watching this, wondering how to work a Lord of Skulls. What's your top tip in terms of Lord of Skulls action? You bring it to a tournament. What do you want to tell your fellow Lord of Skulls enjoyers?
Number one, I'll tell you more than one thing. Number one, just do it. Number 2, okay, and it's World Eaters is one of the harder armies to do well with anyway. That you can do very well with them.
Yep.
You can. But they're not you don't pick up the army and instantly win an event. You need reps. When you factor in the Lord of Skulls, you're taking in 25% of your army. That's 2 or 3 more units that you don't have, right? That's 2 squads of 8 down. That's your 6-man X-Brick. That's a lot of little things that you don't have. You lose out on secondary scoring. So what you do need to do is get reps. You don't just walk into this and it's not a plug and play list. It's not a Ronsil list. You have to learn the little things. You have to learn what kind of shooting. At T13, he can tank a lot, but he can't tank everything. So you want to know what armies are bringing that strength 14, strength 16 goodness, right? Mm-hmm. You want to know what armies favour. Well, in the meta, are we looking at 3 wound bodies? Are we looking at marine bodies? That's going to guide your loadout for the guns, right? You need to pick those things. You need to look at the terrain. If you're playing on GW terrain, where are the gaps big enough for my deployment that he can actually move? Or am I locking him in? You need to do your research on the Lord of Skulls for your event, for your local meta, to see, number one, if he's worth it, but number two, is he going to work?
That's a great point.
It's but he's so much fun.
Yeah. I've TO'd a couple events, and it's not specifically the Lord of Skulls, but you get to like those mid tables. The buddy brought a Bane Blade because it's awesome. He deploys it, and then like turn 1 realizes he's locked where he is, or he has to go back into his deployment zone and around a building to get out. And it's just a horrible, horrible feeling for everyone, right? Yeah. Nobody wants to see that. You didn't bring your 500-point, $1,000 model because that you painted beautifully so that it can not do anything, right? Exactly. Like, make sure you look at your deployments and take advantage of those pathways. Because they are cool models. They do kick ass when you let them. You just got to, a little bit more foresight, if you will. Not a world leader specialist. But so a little bit of foresight there when it comes to using those big models. I think that's the best point. Awesome.
Yeah. But I will say, after several events and lots of games now, I am fairly sure I'm going to drop him for a while. If depending on Codex or the December data slate and whatever else happens, I'm certainly going to drop him for a while because I really want to try your list, the RB2K. I want to get back into the more traditional, the world eaters that really or the list that really utilizes the strength of the index to its max. But I don't want that to dissuade people. If you want to run a Lord of Skulls, you need to run a Lord of Skulls. If you've got one, I'm not going to say go out and buy one because it's a lot of money and a big paint project. But if you have one, take him. If your events will allow it terrain-wise and stuff, you will have some serious fun. He makes Angron much more valuable because you can throw Angron at the brick wall. He's probably the Lord of Skulls. Let me put it like this: the Lord of Skulls turns your 17-18% chance of getting Angron back to, I want to say, about 73% with 2 kills. 2 Jackal rerolls and 2 Lord of Skulls kills. That's a massive difference in getting 666. But yes, I want to go and go back to I can't really call it the old school, but I want to jump on board with this new pain train that's rolling and see if I can get my teeth into that and try that.
We're having fun with it, baby. It's a lot of fun. I'm incredibly aggressive on the table with it, and it's super cool to hear Dara and Brian talk about and obviously watch some of Brian's games is how passive they are with it, and it's still working out, and so it's really cool. But World Leaders just isn't like that one list. Like obviously you're doing well with Skulls. Someone did well recently here in Canada with Double Forge Fiend. Yeah. There's people are doing good with 8-pound spam. If you didn't beat Brian, who also had a Forge Fiend, Lord of Skulls, he would have went 4-1.
Exactly.
Either way, Lord of the Skulls was going 4-1.
Exactly.
So it's not like just this guy got lucky. It's there's some play here with different units. Don't dissuade just because obviously we're having the team generally is having success with this one style of list. I love people taking other styles of lists, and it's really cool to see all the diversity when we're not supposed to be able to win. All the hearsay.
Don't listen to the naysayers out there. People that will say that World Eaters are low tier, or certain units are trash, or we can't win against these armies in this meta. No, you write a list that feels good to you,
Yeah.
and you test it, and
Yeah.
and you refine it, and you get your buddies to test it,
Yeah.
and you make it slightly better, and then you change the spawn for some jackals, and then you change it for a rhino, and then you find the one that works for you.
For sure, man. 100%.
Unless it's 3 Helldrakes.
Yeah. No, don't do that.
Don't.
But yeah, like 100%. There's play. There's 100% hard matchups. World Leaders are hard mode in general. Like it is hard to play a melee only army, especially now.
Yeah.
Obviously, Aquilons are upon us. Like there's hard stuff out there. We will take L's there, and sometimes you just have to learn against that kind of stuff. But yeah, don't. I think this video is the perfect place to say don't fall into the trap of only there's not one list. As much as I'm the guy who love my list, and that's currently having a lot of success with a few people. Is play other lists, have fun with what you love to play, even if that is 3 Helldrakes. Then you do you, buddy. Like have fun, man. Absolutely. So next, you said you were gonna obviously try something else. Do you have any events coming up?
I think we're doing a Teams RTT in December locally, which they're always fun. I'm looking at some GTs and like larger events for next year. The New Year's always hard for me because I have to plan my vacations at work at the end of January, so I've got to see if I'm going to win that vacation lottery of getting the weekends I want off for my GTs.
Yeah.
So there is definitely, I really want to be active next year. Let's put it like that. I want to hit serious events.
Love to hear it. I need you to hit me up with dates when you're going to GTs. I want as much planning as possible because I'd love to come down and join you guys for some of these cool events. I know Brian's are already begging me to come in January for I think it's Glass Hammer or Glass City.
Glass City.
Glass City. Yep. Okay, so he's already begging me for that one. I don't think I'm gonna make it, but yeah, you'd love for to do another Skull Takers with you, buddy, because I'd love you to go with that one. But yeah, if there's is there any other insights we got before we kick off this one?
No, I think we're good, man. I just wanna shout out Gem, the team that ran the event. They always do a phenomenal event. They've grown this community in this part of Ohio from like an 8-man RTT to 100-man or 100-person GT in just a few years. Survived COVID and flourished. It was a golden ticket event. The prize support was phenomenal. It was located in a hotel, so you can drink while you play and then just fall down in bed. Like what more do you want? A day of 40k, drinking a beer with your buddies. There you go.
We want 6 rounds, so there's only 1 undefeated. That's what we want.
Yes. I've been pushing the fellas. I'm telling them to make it a major. I'm trying to get them next year to do a Friday, Saturday, Sunday major.
The Canadian geese would flock for that one.
But yeah, that's all I got. I just hope everyone enjoyed hearing about my escapades. And if you're ever in the area of the Midwest of the United States, come check out the Gem GTs because they're great.
Awesome, man. Well, that's so great. Guys, if you've enjoyed the video, like, subscribe, support the Red Path as we carry on carrying the torch for World Leaders that no one else believes in us. We're gonna keep on keeping on. But yes, like, subscribe, join the Patreon, and support your local TOs and TTL Tabletop Live. Love those guys too. But yeah, for now that's been us. That's Jamie. I'm Ryan. Kill, maim, burn.